guys, welcome back to the Arthritis Podcast, official podcast of digital and creative media works. Each week we take some of pop culture and try to break it down to better understand it. My name is David.
Hello, my name is Ben.
Hi, how's it going, Ben?
Fine.
You weren't here last week, so I podcasted without you. I cheated on you with
sick.
Aaron. Ben was ill, and
I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, so I just kind of let you guys have it.
It's all Aaron has done with his life since it came out.
So I figured I'd let you guys have a
Did you enjoy? What did you think of our... Or did you get halfway through and be like, I haven't played this game, I'm out?
Yeah, no, I think I arrived in the second half.
Oh, okay.
For starters.
So you missed all the good stuff.
Yeah, by that stage, you guys were already just starting to kind of ramble about...
Weird stuff we'd done. I liked that the post show was mostly us just talking about, like...
The post show was just more Red Dead.
Dumb stories, exactly.
Bit of Doctor Who, yeah.
But it's a new month. You missed the start of last month, which
did.
This month we're talking all things immersion and things about, like, world building that make you feel like you're in a world. And so we thought we'd pick an interesting one to kick off this week with.
A good one as well.
After talking about, like, a game which is entirely about immersion, we thought we would talk about the immersion of John Wick Chapter 2.
The second one.
It's fucking good, dude.
Probably 3. They're doing a third one.
Yeah, they just wrapped filming.
Yeah, I've seen that photo of John Wick on a horse shooting a guy on a motorcycle, and it got memed to oblivion. So yes, there is a third one coming out.
This film is so good. Like, especially like because it's hard to
really enjoyed this film. Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's probably one of them. Like, because John Wick 1 is such a dumb film with such a dumb premise because it's just they just wanted to make a really good action film, and to follow up that with a sequel that is like more of the same, but it still feels like a worthy addition. Like, it doesn't feel like it's just the same film. Like, there's actually more to it, and it kind of actually goes places, and it's like, oh, it's worthwhile.
It felt to me more like the second part of a 4-hour film than it did like a actually, like, I think that's why Chapter 2 is more accurate than Part 2. Like, it feels like a direct...
Or, like, 2, yeah.
Like a direct follow-on, almost.
Well, it is pretty close to the first film.
It's 4 days. But before we get into the summary, John Wick Chapter 2 is the neo-noir action thriller directed by Chad Stahelski, I can never say his fucking name, and written by Derek Kolstad, and is the second film in the John Wick series. Had a huge opening box office, as did the first one, and I think for good reason. And, you know, it's Keanu Reeves, he's back, he's bigger than ever, like, he is in form.
It's peak Keanu Reeves, despite being post-Matrix.
It's post-Matrix, peak Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
and
it's the second coming of Christ.
We'll talk a bit about why that's the case as we get into it, but first, the summary, if you haven't seen it, or you just need a quick memory refresher. John Wick Chapter 2, I'm going to keep doing that. John Wick Chapter 2 picks up 4 days after the events of the first film, where John is still on the hunt for his lost car. He finally reclaims it from Tarasov, sparing Tarasov to return home to live in peace, effectively bartering a temporary resolve with the Russians. John is still struggling to reconcile his past and his wife's passing, but he has a new dog and things feel a little settled, but only for mere moments. An old colleague, Santino, presents John a marker, a blood token that forms part of the Assassin's 2 unbreakable rules. John explains he is retired, and Santino then proceeds to blow up John's house in response.
As you do.
John and his dog survive, but the little he had left of his wife and old life burns with it. John consults Winston, the owner of the Continental Hotel, and in New York... John and his dog survive, but the little he had left of his wife and his old life burns. John then consults Winston, the owner of the Continental Hotel in New York, in the hopes of seeking advice about what to do with the marker. Santino then tasks John with killing Santino's sister, Mary, sending John to Rome with a secret supervisor, Eris. John confronts Mary, and she chooses instead to kill herself, then let John take her life. John is then immediately betrayed by Santino's men, and he is hunted down by Eris and Mary's bodyguard. John finds brief refuge in the Continental. Santino puts out a hit on John to avenge his sister's death for $7 million, open to any assassin. John leaves the Continental and must fight his way out of Rome and to Santino, who is now back in New York. Santino signs off on his marker, and Winston, the owner of the Continental, warns Santino that John is on his way. John, hunted by every assassin for the $7 million bounty put upon his return, fights his way towards Santino through New York, but ends up in a battle with Cassian, Mary's bodyguard. John buries a knife in Cassian's chest, but allows him to leave out of professional courtesy. John enlists the Bowery King, an underworld criminal, to prepare for his assault on Santino. Santino claims he will stay at the Continental forever, hoping to wait out John's wrath, but John finds him and shoots him in the Continental lounge through the skull. The next morning, Winston explains to John that his contract has been doubled and is available globally. John is now excommunicado, and Winston gives John an hour's head start before the announcement. John and his dog flee into New York as mobile phones around the city ring, announcing that John Wick is officially a wanted man. God, this film is badass!
That ending is so wild, because even just, you kind of have this idea, especially even in the first film, I think. I don't know whether they touched on this in the first film, that like, or maybe I'm mixing this up with a Bourne film. I think I'm mixing this with a Bourne film.
I'll tell you, tell me what you think it is and I'll confirm.
Like the whole like setting out a hit and then like a whole bunch of people with phones. I think that might be a Bourne film.
I think that might be a Bourne film.
That might be the latest Bourne film. Anyway, so but yeah, that you kind of have this whole idea that, especially in the first film, because you have the Continental, you always have this idea of like there's like a community of these people, and you know they're kind of everywhere. But this film just like dials it up to fucking 11.
Everyone is in a sense.
It's just like everyone is in on it, and there's like that ending, and especially there's like a level of paranoia as well.
The fact that he starts running. You go,
he just starts
this is like,
it. He's like, nah.
He's like, I need that 60 minutes. You know, it's pretty intense. I mean, like, also, what great casting with Ian McShane as the owner of the hotel.
Oh my!
Everything I see him in is amazing.
I love him.
He plays
so much.
Odin in American Gods. I don't know if you remember American Gods, the TV show.
Mr. Wednesday.
Well, Mr. Wednesday, yeah.
He becomes Odin.
He is Odin.
He gets revealed as Odin.
Yeah. But
spoilers.
Like, he's a great fuck. Every time I see Ian McShane, I'm like, hell, he has that gravity. He has the gravity that who's the guy who currently plays Alfred in the BVS trilogy?
Right, yeah.
Patrick, can you look that up for me? Who? Jeremy Irons is the current one.
That was
Jeremy
Google.
He's got actual Jeremy Irons levity. Like he's got like that levity and that kind of weight.
I want him in more stuff.
I want him to be like, I want to at the end of like a long hard week at work, I want to go to his office and have like a scotch with him and consult him and get his advice. Do you know what I mean? He's so good. I love him in this. And he plays really well off John's like sort of strong silent type persona, whereas he's this kind of owner of the hotel, but he does have that kind of gravity to him. And I think that he's
he's actually very similar to Mr. Wednesday.
That's why Ian McShane is really good at one thing.
He's good at that kind of role of like the secretly powerful,
the guy who knows everything.
The guy who knows everything, but he doesn't like show it off. He's not the doer. He's a watcher and a talker and a manipulator.
He's a grifter.
Yeah, essentially. And he plays that role so well.
And then like obviously Keanu Reeves puts in again like one of his best performances, does the most by saying the least. That's what Keanu does best.
When he does say things, it's a bit weird and stilted. Is that just him or is that him acting? I can't tell.
I think in this one it's him acting, because what they want for John Wick is he's a character who, since his wife's death, has isolated himself. So like he's completely like gone into himself. He's retracted. He's like completely introverted.
Right.
So when he has to talk, it's awkward and weird because he doesn't do it often. Whereas like the killing stuff, it comes on like a switch. Where like that for him is like his natural flow state. Whereas speaking and interacting, he's lost that because that was the part of him that was with his wife.
Do you want to do like some quick hot takes of like favorite? Like, because we talked a lot
favorite
in the
kills?
first film. Favorite kills, but also just like favorite minute moments. Like we talked in the first film where he falls off the balcony.
Oh,
and just that bone-crushing thud.
It got me.
And like when he falls off the balcony and he just lands. He just stops and you're like, there's nothing. He just stops.
It looked like they actually dropped Keanu Reeves off the balcony.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. So first one, when John Wick is in his car and he's lost the door and he's in the facility and a dude rams the front of his car, the car rotates and he just pops out of the side.
Well, he doesn't move the car move.
He doesn't move the car move.
That's such a cool shot.
I was like, oh, that's tight. That was definitely like up there. I was like, all right, it's this kind of film.
One of my favorite.
My other favorite one is where he's run out of ammo in his shotgun. So he's pinned the guy down with the barrel with the one hand, and he loads it, and it just pops out.
Oh, dude, that made me.
Those two moments, I was like, okay, this is a John Wick film.
there was quite a few that like were kind of blended together for me, but I think there's one where it's toward the end, they're running through like the modern art gallery, and John Wick has like that gun with like 7 rounds or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
That only takes 7 rounds, and he's holstered that, and he's using someone else's pistol, and he clicks dry, and he just fucking like hocks it at a dude's face.
Oh yeah, he just chucks it.
And I was like, damn. But then just before that, he's rounding a corner, and a guy like comes at him with a gun, and he grabs the guy and pins the guy to the ground and holds the guy's arm out with the gun around the corner. Another guy runs, he shoots the guy's leg, grabs that guy's gun, shoots that guy, then turns around and hocks the gun when it's out of ammo. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like that for me I was like, damn, son.
Yeah, the choreography in this is like
It's
really
amazing.
done up to. I think there's a few more dumb gimmick fight scenes in this.
Yeah.
I thought the mirrors were. There was like only one good part of the
I
mirrors.
found that frustrating because I couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah. And
didn't think it
and the scene when they're walking through, I assume it's like a station, and they're just
subway.
like shooting.
The silence. That's so funny, dude.
That's so dumb.
It's
like
supposed to,
it's not how
it's supposed to be
silence
funny.
works.
It's supposed to be funny though. Like that's like I was laughing out loud when that happened.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny because they're just like nonchalantly just like pew pew.
Dude, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I was
I mean-
laughing. That was good. I think it's definitely like a comedic moment, and this film does that a lot more than the previous one. Like, the previous film had those moments where you kind of laugh, but this, like, did you see this one in theaters when it came out?
No.
Okay,
I missed it.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, I saw it like opening week, I think, because I had a press ticket, which I didn't use, so then I paid human dollars for it.
Oh no.
And it was interesting because I saw it in like a pretty affluent area, so they didn't really like get a lot of the humor. But there was like a group of kids at the back that laughed at every punchline, like every physical punchline.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because the film's dialogue is very serious, right? Like it's a very like everything is very morose. The only person who kind of has any jokey jokes is like Lawrence Fishburne's character, the Bowery King, where he's kind of like, yeah, John Wick.
He just grandstands a lot.
He chews the scenery a lot. But everyone else is very serious.
I just took Lawrence Fishburne's character as he was just like, I'm just gonna pretend that like it's Morpheus 20 years later.
It was very weird. I don't know if I liked him in this.
Because that whole scene when you see him, I was just like, there were a lot of things that were like, I was like, this is very just.
Very
you
on
could
the nose.
like film theory is gonna have a fucking field day with this scene. Is what is sort of this.
Well, that's because it's so much subtext, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that's just never explained.
And there's a lot of stuff that if you come at it from the perspective of like you can watch this film being like, this is the Matrix 20 years on, and like it fits, it slots in.
Yeah.
I mean it doesn't, because that's not what the film is about. Because
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Because like that's like a really dumb way of sort of seeing
it's very
the meta.
uncreative.
Yeah, it's like a very there was a really incredible video by Dan Olson recently where he talked about Annihilation and how so many people who did like analysis of that film, and we kind of did this as well, got so hung up on like is she an alien? Is he an alien? Are the aliens? What's the aliens gonna do? What about the shimmer? Where's the shimmer? What's the shimmer? Where are the aliens? Where the film is about loss.
Well,
I think
change. Well, we focus more on the relationships than anything else.
Yeah,
we
think,
focus more on the characters.
Dan Olson described it as the death of metaphor or something along those lines.
Basically,
it's easy to do that with this film, to be like, no, it's like the Matrix because Lawrence Fishburne is in it, and they're like good friends from the past, and maybe it's the Matrix and they've forgotten, this is the Matrix sequel. Blah, blah, blah. It's like no, it's not.
It's just John Wick is a famous assassin and everyone knows who he is. That's all.
I liked how they I like the continuation of all you have to say is
his name.
That's John Wick's car, and every character is like, oh.
When the guy at the start does these like, you killed him with a pencil. Who the fuck does that? And then
he
like
kills him,
later on you see him kill
a pencil.
He kills.
Yeah.
And there's the that I was like, damn son, that's like some Jason Bourne shit.
Well, even that, like that, yeah. When he was going out with the pencil, I was like, oh, this is interesting because it's a weird thing. Well, obviously he killed 3 guys at the bar with a pencil. That's obviously a story, but he does it, so it's like a weird thing where it's like, yeah, like
it probably happened. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
most stories with John Wick, the rule is like it probably did happen, but they under exaggerated the details because that's what the guy says at the start.
He says it's like they're mostly watered down.
Yeah, which is like probably what happened. Graphic.
What I took that when he actually did kill people with a pencil. I mean, there's one perspective where it's just like he's clearly trained with a pencil.
Or did you think that
before.
he saw the pencil and went, oh, that like, people remember that story people tell about me in the bar?
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Or maybe he doesn't care because again he's quite an introvert, and people make up these stories about how he kills.
He just
people.
goes, I don't care,
and he doesn't care. He will use a pencil if he needs to. And it's
more
more of like that's more of just a textual confirmation of John Wick as a character.
Yes, and that's
just
interesting.
Like he can kill 3 people with a pencil. We'll show you.
the world is like this whole film is full of like textual confirmation of world things that never get explained. Like, as a quick laundry list, like when John gets his new suit and gun and passport, there's like clearly this place where you go as an assassin. They just like give you a new identity with like your favorite assassin suit and your favorite gun.
You go down to the bar and you ask for like a German. Like a German starter, and he gives you a Glock, and it's like, and you ask for dessert, and he gives you knives, and it's like, you go to the tailor, and you ask for a suit, and then he asks for the line, and you say tactical, and now suddenly you've got a bulletproof suit.
I mean, even the broader level of that moment where he like John knows everyone in Rome, like that to me, I'm like, okay, well, like he's got these places wired, and there's even something they do with the filmmaking of this where John Wick as a character, you like when you're following him from like his perspective, it's very like straightforward. But whenever you're in like a common shot and he's in it, or, like from someone else's perspective, or just like from a common view, he kind of disappears and reappears in like through the scenery and stuff. Like he kind of moves in this way that like you can't really track properly. There's an exception to that, which is in the train sequence where he like, you know, when they're about to get on the train from either side and the train goes in, like, and you know John vanishes or whatever. Like
there's a few frames where you can directly see him. He's walking.
Yeah, the Wisecrack guys pointed out in their podcast about this one that you can see him walking forward to get to the right door.
Yeah, no, you can.
And that to me, I'm like, and they talk about it as like a deconstruction of like the villain trope. Yeah. That you see a lot in like
the vanishing behind the train trope. Yeah, I thought that was interesting because when it happened, I was just like, he's gonna vanish. But then I was like, actually, he's just walking.
Because I think that's what's scary about John Wick is he's just a man. Like, he is this legend, but he's like, he is just a guy who's got the will to do it. Like, he's not supernatural. Like, he's not actually a boogeyman. He's
supernatural.
David's having trouble with words today, gang.
Point that out.
Supernatural. But like, he's just the dude that gets it done. And that is somehow scarier than if he, like, you know, like a Fast and Furious character who's like impervious to bullets or whatever.
Yeah.
When John gets shot in his like vest and stuff.
Was Fast and Furious about bullets?
Since like the third film. It's mostly about guns now.
Really?
Yeah. Guns and kung fu.
I remember Tokyo Drift. It was just about the cars.
Nah, it's still about the cars. It's about cars, babes, and guns now, Ben.
Cars, babes, and
Lowest
guns.
common denominator.
The American dream.
That's right, baby. We've got to talk about the way that this film links all of its themes together. So, like the violence and the death and the sex and all that stuff.
The sex?
Well, the way that it sexualizes violence.
Right. Okay. I was gonna say there's like a back of a female in this film. That's the most nudity in the entire film.
No, but like the obvious connection that you touched on before is like the gunsmith who like John Wick orders guns like he's talking about going on a date with someone, where he's like,
well, yeah, and he orders a suit based on like a social event he's going to.
Yeah,
and even when
it's all very gentleman.
Even when all the assassins are talking to it, well, everyone will ask him. It's just like, are you working? Even like the firefighter, it's just like, are you back to working? And he's just like, no, or something. It reminds, like, yeah, I just started.
I wish I wasn't or whatever. It reminds me a lot of like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Patrick's got a good quote there, which is texture grips should get your hands. Texture grips should your hands get wet. Yeah. And it's all very sexual, you know, dessert, an Italian classic. Like it's very there's even a subversion there of like in current culture, like guns are viewed as like this kind of there's a lot of conversation and stigma happening around guns, but this film is not about guns, it's about assassins. So when they do it, you kind of don't have that normal reaction where you're like, guns are bad. You're like, but this is a world of assassins. This is what they do.
Yeah. They just all have everyone just has a silenced pistol on them.
Yeah, at all times. Everyone has a knife in their jeans pocket, you know. I mean, even Eris, which is the blind assassin, who's Ruby Rose's character, she has this weird like
blind?
Deaf. Fuck. I almost nailed it.
Is she deaf or
she's
is she
mute,
just mute?
Maybe. I think maybe she's just mute.
Because, well, I mean, I don't know.
Well, she grunts, but I don't know how.
Sometimes, like, John Wick talks to her, but then most of the time he signs. So I think deaf. Let's assume deaf.
I think deaf, but maybe she can read lips and stuff like that. But yeah, like the first time she meets him, she intimidates him by like grabbing his ass through like under his taint, which made me like to try and like spook him, and I was like, ooh, okay, that's a bit full on. But like it wasn't sexual. It was like it was like a threat of violence or something. Like it's
got your taint.
Like but like her
sorry,
grabbed you by the taint, boy. But like it seems to me that like it's not that she's sexually attracted to him, but that her attraction to his abilities as an assassin are by very definition sexual in some way.
And interestingly, so with who's the bodyguard that he stabs the knife into?
Cassian.
So Cassian, he he stabs him with the knife and then leaves it because he's like, you can survive. And we see that.
I think he might be alive.
Oh, I mean, you see that with Lawrence Fishburne's character. He also was given the same kind of situation where it's like, I could either like hold the wound or I could try to shoot you and die and kill it, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So it's like, so he gave Cassian that sort of
professional
courtesy.
Yeah.
Except and it's very explicit, he doesn't give that same
to Ruby Rose's character.
Yes. He's like, he stabs it with a knife and then straight up rips it out. And even the soundtrack kind of like emphasizes, like there's a bit of like a flourish in the,
Why do you think
in the
that
audio.
is?
From a character perspective, I don't know, but from a... Because
no, I understand the symbolism, but like I'm just trying to work out like why he and it's just because he and Cassian have a history, or
it could have been that maybe, I don't know, like maybe he just didn't appreciate it getting bloody groped by this assassin lady. And he's just like, just because you're a woman doesn't mean I'm not gonna fucking end you.
I suppose too that Cassian never betrayed John Wick. He's just doing his job because he was protecting Mary. Maybe there's like an empathy there, whereas like it seems like Ruby Rose has like this. I don't know. There's something...
Is she in the first film?
No, and that's my water.
That is your water.
Get your own fucking water.
Sorry, David.
Shucking my drink, bro.
I've been drinking that this whole time.
Son of a bitch. It's only there because it was out of my microphone stands. Okay. Wait, now I can't see it. No. This is why Ben and I quibble about drinks. Yeah. Welcome to a very highbrow podcast. Yeah, I mean, even
there's definitely something there. And I don't know.
Yeah, there's something there, and it's like, is it like a sexual attraction? I don't think so. I think it's like natural. Like it's the other way around. It's an attraction to his abilities as a professional. By extension, death in this world is sexualized. So it's weird. I don't know. Something to think about. If you guys know, I'd love to hear it either in the comments of the video or like if you want to email us or something. Like, what do you think of that relationship? If you've worked it out, because I know people think about this film more than we have, but I'd love to know because there's something there. The other thing, like Mary, Santino's sister, she's a crime lord who affiliates with assassins, but like she operates out of catacombs, which is like full of death. And then, she has this big bathtub that's very open and like visible. It's kind of a showroom almost of her body. And when she dies, she strips to nothing, right?
I think there are sort of themes of like sort of autonomy of death in this film where, so you have...
What do you mean autonomy of death?
So like you have, the crime late, I'm bad at names. You're going to have to remind
Mary?
me. Yeah. So when she's like, I'm going to kill myself because I don't want to... Like, I'm going to die.
I don't want John Wick to... Well,
I don't want you to kill me. I'm going to take it into my hands.
Is it I don't want you to kill me, or I don't want you to have to kill me? Do you think for her? Because I wonder if they had a history, maybe. Like,
I mean, it could be that. But either way, she does say, she was like, I decide my own fate.
Yeah.
So I think that is part of sort of like a...
Agency,
agency thing. And then you have the two examples of, people who are actively given a choice of like, do your job or survive. And... we can probably glean that they both chose... Well, one of them does choose survive. We can probably glean the other one does as well.
Yep.
And even with hotel operator man, Winston. Even when he's like, oh, you've been excommunicated and then your life is now forfeit, and John Wick says, well, then why aren't I dead? Winston is just like, because I've chosen not to kill you yet, basically. So
it's about autonomy. Control.
Yeah, and yeah, like the sort of
but isn't that in opposition to how many fucking rules they have? Do you think, like the friction between that idea of like they want all of these assassins want is autonomy, but they're all bound by these rules?
Well, maybe like on one hand, yeah, autonomy, but the autonomy could be sort of a rebellion. So, when you're in the Continental, you can't conduct business in the Continental. The Winston has all this power where even when he excommunicates someone, or even when there's a $7 million bounty on his head, he can basically keep them alive. But, either A, by giving them sanction in the Continental, or B, sort of being like, I'm going to give you an hour head start.
Yeah.
So I think
he's still not completely exempt of the rules.
Well, I think he's kind of like the epicenter of like the control of death. Like he has all these rules, he has all these people, not necessarily under his control. I
hadn't thought of it like
but
that.
At least under his guise, where he's kind of like, he's almost the dealer of death. But then you have characters like... Again, names.
Really interesting.
The crime lord lady, Mary. Where she's like, Mary. She's like, no, I'm gonna. She's like, okay, death's knocking because death is always knocking in this world, but it's knocking particularly fast and hard right now because John Wick is in my room. So I'm just gonna knock out cold. But then John Wick still shoots her.
That's because everyone else needs to know he killed her. To claim the mark. Remember, the marker said the marker was like, You have to.
It has to be proof.
Well,
Okay.
I can't remember. It's a blood oath, and he goes, "You have to kill my sister for me," or something. Like it's the specific wording of it. But then that's an interesting thing that I hadn't even thought of, which is that control of death. Because in the first film, as Patrick points out, there's a seductress character that supposedly kills people with sex, right? So the question then is, if the locus of control for these assassins, if the one thing they all fear is a lack of control over their death. Because that's what they do for a living, right? They output death. They create death.
Well, yeah, because there's like hundreds and hundreds of just generic bad guy grunts in this film that just get shot,
and
maimed,
like clearly
destroyed.
talented assassins that John Wick immediately dismantles.
Yeah.
So it must speak to this idea of like there are a bunch of assassins that aren't the top level.
Yeah.
And like the Ruby Rose's character, Eris,
The big sumo boy
who
takes a lot of bullets.
Yeah, the big Chinese dude, or John Wick,
Violin player.
Yeah, there are certain
pulls a pistol out of a violin.
there are clearly certain characters. I mean, like Cassian. There are certain characters in this world, certain assassins that are like the top echelon. And the thing that you realize when they approach is you have no control over what's going to happen. They will kill you, and the only control you have left is how you die. So it's interesting that then Winston is the arbiter of the rules. But like, it's kind of crazy to me that if you think about impulse and sex and death and all that stuff, and how they kind of all interlinked with like desire versus like control. It's interesting that the one time that John Wick is in control of his life is when he's killing people. When he's forced back into it, he's in actual control of like the moment to moment. Whereas, when he's not doing a job, when he's not roped back into it, he's in control of his life, but the moment to moment is dictated by who turns up and who does stuff. So there's something, I don't know what there's something there. Don't know what, but something to think about. I have a meta reading to cap off with if you like.
Let's go. Meta reading. It's actually a Matrix sequel.
It's not. So this comes in part from the Wisecrack guys, but I've kind of taken my own spin on it because Aaron and I got a bit deep into Zizek last week, so I kind of lost my mind a little bit.
No.
So it's
it's not. I remember seeing that last week and going, "Oh boy, I'm glad I'm not there."
It's not even about the real.
I'm not a fan of Zizek.
So shout out to the Wisecrack boys. If you haven't heard their podcast, Show Me the Meeting, get into it. I'll probably link it in the show notes because they were a big source for this one. But okay, so the film is morbidly funny, and there is this real emphasis on the fact that John Wick is played by Keanu Reeves. And he, he's only really an action star now again since, like a proper action star since he came back in John Wick. That was when everyone went, oh yeah, he did a lot of Kung Fu in 2001, like everyone's kind of remembered that. And like Keanu has this vibe that Daniel Craig or like Jason Statham or like Idris Elba that they don't have, because like those guys are like action people. Like Idris Elba's like maybe a less good example, but like Daniel Craig, Jason Statham, like the people that even to an extent, who's the guy that plays Captain America?
Chris, one of the
Chris Hemsworth, Evans.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. Those characters are they're like action heroes. But Keanu Reeves, you don't think of as being like an action star. He's just like the guy from The Matrix, right?
Yeah, he's even. There was sort of that time period between The Matrix and John Wick where he was being memed, and like there was the whole like Keanu Reeves doesn't age joke, and there was like he was still part of popular culture.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had any films. Definitely no.
He did a few indie films.
Yeah, definitely no big films like John Wick. Mm-hmm. So when he came back, it like the first John Wick was almost like it was like, oh, Keanu Reeves in an action film. Okay, like that. Everyone was like, yeah, it's a bit of a meme. It's a bit of a joke. Bit of a silly goof.
And it kind of felt that way until...
And the film is a bit of a goof, it's
there's lots of funny
you
moments.
Explain the plot of John Wick, and it's like a guy, it's like someone kills John Wick's dog, and he just goes on a murderous rampage.
Yeah.
And like that's the film.
Yeah.
And even this film it starts off kind of as jokey as the first one. They leave that behind a little bit. There's no dog, there's no car. It's just he's kind of
they blow up his house that he lived within with his wife. So it's still got that kind of symbolism of loss.
Like with where the first film was, he lost his dog, he went on a murderous rampage. He ends the film with another dog. Like that was just
right, but it's not the dog that he and his wife had. That's all. But it's not the last remnant he had of his wife.
But it is like as like a closing statement.
Yeah,
it pokes fun at the whole purpose of the film was just like the only reason he's doing this is because he really likes dogs.
He could have just bought a new fucking dog.
Well, he finds a dog.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, yeah.
But whereas this film, it's like, it starts off kind of jokingly, there's still a dog and he's trying to get his car. Mm-hmm. But it very quickly moves into, there's actually just like, there's more to this world than just
just his
jokey Keanu Reeves doing flips and shit.
Lots of shit going on. Do you think that's helped by the fact that like there's nothing ostensibly special about Keanu Reeves? Like every other character in this world has like a quirk or a gimmick, or like the Bowery King is like this kind of grandstanding guy who's like, you know, looks like a hobo but he's secretly like this, you know, big king dude.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you've got Winston who's like the kind of the dictator of this continental world. You've even got like the bad guy Santino, who's like this art collector who has this pretense, who he's killing his sister behind his. All these characters, you know, like Ruby Rose's character, who kind of is like the femme fatale. Like they all have these kind of gimmicks or whatever. But like Keanu Reeves is like just a normal looking dude. Like he's not even like that muscular in this film.
I mean, he has a fucking Fortnite skin, like basically modeled after him because he's just so generic.
He just looks like the most generic dude ever, and I think that's why John Wick works. The thing that's special about John Wick is that he's played by Keanu Reeves, who is just a normal dude. Keanu Reeves is not Hollywood. Keanu Reeves has had like a really hard life. His wife and kid passed away. Like he's had a really hard, normal ass life.
Wait, really?
Then he became an actor. Yeah, he's had a horrific life.
Oh god.
And he's like the nicest dude. He catches the subway everywhere to save on like emissions and stuff like that.
Right.
Like he's like a normal ass dude. And so like my meta reading of the whole thing is like they picked Keanu Reeves because he is the one action star who isn't an action star. And so you put him in this film and you make him John Wick.
Yeah.
And like the thing that makes him special is the fact that he isn't.
Despite him being a pretty sort of mainstay action star now because of these two films, you wouldn't put him in the Untouchables. Untouchables? Intouchables.
Sure, Untouchables. You nailed it the first time.
Yeah.
Or like the A-Team or whatever. Or like,
he wouldn't fit in that because he's not a machismo. He's not a like hyper masculine. He's not like super buff or anything. He's not particularly like, he's not like a veteran of the genre as well. So he's not like an Arnie figure or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he's like a newcomer, but he's got so much history really just because of The Matrix. Like that film is like, that's a cultural icon really, like in terms of Keanu Reeves as a human being. So yeah, I feel like because of that, and you know, putting him in this film where, you know, in the film he is this kind of larger than life character, but not because of it's like doubly because people say he's larger than life, which for one is like, oh, that's just lazy writing. But then they actually show it. They're like, look at him like do all this crazy shit, but still get the crap beaten out of him. Like he's not invincible. Yeah. But it's like I think the line that was like, that I thought was really cool, because I like that kind of theming for me is really interesting, is where at the start of the film where he's just like John Wick is just a man of pure will. Like he'll like, if he just wants something, like he'll just make it happen. Like he's a doer. He's not magic. He's not special, but like the whole idea of just like someone willing something like that as sort of a superpower, I always find kind of funny, because it's like, that's such a, and it's hard to do, because it's like, you know, you look at like a Skyscraper by The Rock. That's like a film where it's just like, oh, because he's, you know, he's missing a leg. It's like, oh, he wills all these things. He's just, but at the same time, he's The Rock. Like, it's really ingenuous, and you're like, hey.
It's canny. I think it's canny. Like John Wick just, because he's a dude. Like he's just a guy.
You can believe that he just puts 110 in and just kills a bunch of people.
This film would work with someone like Emily Blunt, for instance, who is
it's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing that I got from Atomic Blonde, where it's just like, it's just pure will. Yeah,
she just doesn't. She keeps getting up. It's like Daredevil, like a Charlie Cox.
Daredevil, or like Alien, Ripley and Alien.
Yeah, actually,
it's just like
Charlie Cox would be great as John Wick. Like that, it would have the same effect, where he's just a guy who you know is being like a pretty decent actor, but he's never really like an action hero. Yeah, and I think it works so well. Which that might be a good place to end, because we just said really nice things for 10 minutes. You got any recommendations for this week, Benjamin?
It's not really a recommendation, but I've just been playing VR.
Buy VR? Is that the recommendation?
No, not yet. Don't wait for wait for Gen 3. I don't know. It's nauseating, but it's a good nauseating.
Okay.
I played Rec Room, and I am going to talk about that in the post show.
I'm not excited, but I will look forward to it nonetheless.
Yep.
I just finished American Gods for our book club podcast. You got to read that book.
Oh, we just finished, because I don't read, mainly because I'm bad. I'm a slow reader.
Ben can't read. It's the podcast big secret.
But Laura likes reading, so she reads to me a lot. And we just finished Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and
it's got a weird ending.
fucking angry.
Yeah.
I'm really, really goddamn angry at that.
It's not.
I'm gonna go back and look at the podcast.
It's not a great book. I say all the things you're thinking.
Yeah,
it ruins its premise.
I enjoyed like the last fourth, fifth, 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
If you split it into 5, the fourth, fifth is really good.
But the rest of the book,
But the rest of it is
sense.
just infuriating.
Check out that podcast if you want to. Where Laura and I break that book down, and I basically drill the book into the ground.
Yep.
There are good elements, but yeah,
There's some good
definitely.
stuff, but a lot of it, by the end of it, I was like, I'm really annoyed.
Yeah. But if you liked Ian McShane in this, check out American Gods. He's one of the main characters, and he fucking nails it.
He was that TV show was my introduction to him.
You lucky dog.
And it's just been great ever since.
He's brilliant.
Every time
he?
I see him, I'm like, yes.
Like, hell yes.
He's so good.
Go check him out. Go check out American Gods, whether it's the Amazon Prime show or the book. Book is very different, but equally as good in a very different way.
They're quite similar, though. They cover a lot of same...
The plots are similar, but
except they change some of the characters. They update, they modernize some things.
There's some stuff that they do in the later... Like, the sequencing of events changes as you get into the back half of the TV show, and in a really interesting way. So I recommend doing both, because they try and achieve different things.
I find it interesting how they change in the TV show, and he's like the Twinkie... That's the only way I can describe it. Twinkie vaping, like, preppy kid. But in the book, he's like a chubby... kind of like nerd.
Well, he's a chubby vapey nerd.
Yeah, but he's not explicitly vaping in the book, though.
He is later on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't read the book. So I don't
no,
read.
it's interesting. I definitely check it out. Either version. It's just any Neil Gaiman you can pick up and read or watch. Do it.
Yep.
Do yourself a fucking favor. Yeah, that'll do it for that portion of the podcast. But as always, Ben,
Facebook.
At DCM Works
YouTube.
Social. No, actually, you know what? Where can people find
Twitter.
us?
Facebook.
YouTube. DCM Works everywhere. YouTube.com/DCMWorks if you want to see this live. At DCM_Works to get updates and all content. Patreon. Fuck you. I did it myself last week because I didn't give Aaron the script.
Right.
And I felt like
you
an idiot.
give him a list. You'd be like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, just read the words. Don't worry.
Yeah. Patreon.com/DCMWorks. Help support us. Chuck in $3 a month. You get access to everything that we do. All kinds of behind the scenes stuff. You can see the post show if you didn't catch it live, where we just chinwag and hang out for a good 20 to 30 minutes. Or we do things like this week we won't because neither of us have seen it, but we recap Doctor Who.
We generally do Doctor Who.
We'll
do a doubler next week.
Talk about extra stuff. Patrick corrects our facts. All kinds of good stuff. So you can check that out and enjoy it if you would like to. $3 a month. Also, you get access to Interface, our Patreon-only podcast, which at some point Ben and I are going to record the next few episodes, but
at some point,
going to make some time for that. It's a kind of audiobook / drama / anthology story
/ cosmic horror.
Fucking horror. Yeah, it's horrifying. Check that out if you want to. We appreciate any support you guys give us. Or alternatively, just tell one friend you think might like this podcast about it. That's honestly the best way to help us. Tell your nan. She's got time.
No,
tell your nan.
Don't tell your nan.
We didn't even say cunt once.
Woo! Rick and Morty. See you next week.
Rick and Morty. 10,000 years Rick and Morty. Otherwise, if you want to follow us individually, I'm at DCM I Hate Pie.
We'll see you guys next week.